that you baptized each other and all that stuff.
That's
so exciting.
How much time do we have?
30 minutes ago. Okay.
Well, we've been married for 11 years, and we've been together for 13 years. Bryce was raised Catholic in the Catholic Church and was baptized as an infant. And so as far as baptism goes, it was something that he was never involved with. He kind of went through the steps and the tradition of being Catholic. When we met, I did not have Christ in my life at all. I was not ready to receive him. Sorry, here we go. I'll get this done right now so that I can be done with it, done and over. Bryce, in his life, Catholicism was very important to him, and so I was like, okay, well, teach me about it. He couldn't necessarily teach me about it.
She kept asking questions, and I just told her.
So I went through classes, and
When you figure it out, let me know.
So anyways, we learned at a young age of really about the tradition, nothing about Christ. We learned about religion and not about the relationship. It wasn't until 2 years tomorrow, November 20th, 2011, that I was saved, and that Bryce was saved through that up in South Dakota. And since then, we have completely transformed our lives. Our daughter is 5.5. A few of you in here know her very personally, and she is just the most dearest thing to our heart. She was a miracle child to us, and we wanted her in a growing environment growing up, and so we put her into Hope Lutheran Early Learning Center, which is a Christian daycare preschool, and she gained this love and this relationship with Christ that we did not know. At that time, we were still every Saturday or Sunday evening going to church and then not living it out the rest of the week. She transformed us quite a bit in that we knew that we wanted that to continue for her. And quite honestly, we're a little bit jealous of that relationship that she had, and we didn't know anything about that. And so...
Yep, a couple Christmases ago, she wanted to have a birthday cake for Jesus. And that was just completely out of my comfort zone for sure. Is that here my little girl is having this relationship, and like, yeah, she wants to have a birthday cake. I'm like, well, let's do this. So Rachel and Addie made a birthday cake, and we sung Happy Birthday with my parents, who was on the Catholic side of things. It was a very unique relationship on Christmas to be singing with our little daughter here. Yeah.
So with that, we continued, and we knew that we needed to make a change. So we stepped over to the light side instead of being on the dark side for so many years. The shades pulled down, and we went to a service at UCC.
Let me back up. How we got introduced to UCC was Chick-fil-A LeaderCast was held there a couple of years ago. And I'd never been to the building, and my business coach, she's the one that put that on, and so I went to UCC just to help set up for Chick-fil-A LeaderCast, and you started seeing some other people that I knew there, and an opportunity presented itself, because our routine was, I'm from here, so my family's here, we go to church at St. Isidore's on Saturday night or Sunday morning, and that was the routine. Well, my parents just so happened to be out of town on vacation, and went to Chick-fil-A LeaderCast on Friday, opportunity for us to go to UCC on Sunday, so we did that. I dig the music. That really is moving to me. And Storm, you guys do a great job. So from that, that was in May 2 years ago. We haven't stopped going there ever since, and just has built this relationship and momentum for us moving forward with Addison getting older. And we're just on a track onward and upward. So.
And then this guy came to UCC, and we realized that was truly where we belonged, and that was at home, and we wanted to become members at UCC, and our entire world was turned upside down. Satan attacked our little girl, and there was so much heartache in that the way that he tried to stop what we were doing and put a roadblock right in front of us was very evident, and
very much spiritual warfare.
it was complete. We didn't believe in spiritual warfare, or not necessarily didn't believe, but didn't know that didn't believe in it. And it was right there in front of us with our sweet little 5-year-old. And thank God she does not remember any of it that was going on in her little head, but it brought out some major things that had happened in my life and in Bryce's life that we didn't know. I mean, here we are, almost married, or together for 13 years and almost married 12, that we didn't know that this side of each other existed. And Satan tried to use that against us, and we said no. We said absolutely not. And at that moment, we were speaking with Barry, and he recommended, or not, he suggested, what do you guys think about baptizing each other as a family? And I was like, oh my goodness, I cannot think about this right now. What do you mean? And it was completely very emotional, as it still is. But we did a lot of healing in those 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks that led up to the baptism that couldn't have happened without Christ. You know, and thank God we had that relationship and have that relationship now. Being baptized the way that we were, I mean, that song was just perfect that you guys chose for that. It didn't just symbolize us dying and rising to a new life with Christ individually, but as a family, and what we had just overcome was just amazing. And for Bryce to baptize me and us to start anew, and then to baptize Addison and wash all of that away from her was just amazing. You know, a lot of people asked us, and we kind of had a little bit of hesitation when she was 5 years old, and baptizing a 5-year-old, does she truly know what the meaning was? And so we prepared her, we asked her, and she says, well, she had actually come to us before we even talked to her and asked to be baptized. And I said, well, sweetie, you know, why do you want to be baptized? Well, because it looks fun. We gotta redo this here. And I said, well, sweetie, you know, it's probably fun, but you know, what other reason? Why are you coming to me? Why do you want to do this? And she said, Mommy, I'm ready to accept Jesus into my heart. I was like, oh my goodness, okay, you know, tell me what that means to you. And she said, well, Mommy, I'm ready to live my life for Jesus. And I'm like, okay, wait a minute, how old are you?
Child, are you?
And so, you know, when we prayed about it, we come right down to the day of, and sitting there in the service, she was getting very timid about it and kind of snuggling in me, and she started crying, and she said, Mommy, I don't think I can do this. And I said, okay, you know, you don't have to. Thankfully, we had friends right behind us.
And the
that
father
helped.
in me says, no, you're going to do this. We've been preparing. You're not going to screw this up now.
You got the water trial.
Right. The water's warm. Barry, make sure the water is
So,
warm.
you know, Terry was saying you can prepare as much as you can up to the point. And so we just passed her back to our friends right behind us. And Bryce got baptized first by Barry, and it was so funny because Bryce was just in the moment. He started getting out of the tank, and I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa.
You forgot about it.
Yeah.
Woo! And then after he baptized me, and Barry said, you know, you guys, where's your little girl? And Bryce and I both turned to Addison, and she just reached her out to us. And I was like, and we baptized her, and it was beautiful. And we have amazing pictures and amazing memories. And I was very fearful that it would take away from our baptism, doing it out in front of everybody like we did, and having such a huge celebration. You know, I didn't want it to be for everybody else. And it wasn't.
Just it magnifies it.
It completely magnified it, you know, and with saying the Holy Spirit was very evident that day. He was, it wasn't just that the water was warm, but our bodies were warmed by, you know, him entering into us, and it was an amazing, amazing thing, you know. And afterwards, this little 5-year-old says to me, she goes, Mommy, I hope that us being baptized that way brings people to Christ.
Oh.
Amazing. I could go on and on. So that's how we.
Let me reply on 2 things that they brought up, just to let you know.